It's about that time.
It's a motivation time.
It's time to bust a rhyme.
Oh no, we're not starting early today.
Oh, it's Friday flow day.
It is Friday flow day. We can go along with that.
It's time for me to do my rapping.
No, please don't.
I'm gonna rap about the financial services industry.
You can get all that out one sentence.
Yeah, my flow was a little off right now.
A little off. Well, on that note, welcome guys. We're so happy to have you join us again. This is Motivate You. My name is Cassie Adafaro.
My name is Michael Terrio. I'm the flow master.
Okay.
Not so much, really.
No.
Well, this is Motivate You, and our Motivate You is Motivate You.
Motivate You. That's what I said.
Yeah, you did. You said it right. I did not. And we brought to you by Motivate Advisors, Motivate Investments. Great to be with each and every one of you. And we're talking about entrepreneurial spirit, how to take your business to that next level, level up, get to the place of all of your dreams.
I feel like that should be like a echo. Dreams. A little more emphasis on it.
Well, the crowd is excited about today's show.
Yes. When you have the crowd behind you, you just feel good.
It's
You're ready to rock. It makes all the difference.
It's true. These are all facts. You know, you and I just got done having lunch and brought up something that I haven't thought about for a really long time, but really kind of goes to the importance of our industry.
Okay. We talk about random stuff often, so I'm not exactly sure where you're going with it, but I
got one word for you.
Okay.
Voltron.
Voltron.
Voltron. For those of you that know Voltron, that dude's legit. Okay. Voltron was the robot that as a kid growing up, I wanted to have Voltron so badly. But I didn't even realize how cool Voltron was until I got older.
And he's not a transformer is what I learned.
I can't believe that you would even try.
You know, I'm pretty good on a lot of pop culture. I'm hip. That one I struggled with a little bit.
You failed. I think it was more than a struggle. Voltron, for those of you who are not familiar, is a robot combined of other robots driven by humans. Right?
Easy story to follow.
Right. And they were out to do good things to save the world. Now, growing up as a kid, that was a big deal. Voltron was like, his toy was like 3 feet tall. I mean, it was a big toy.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford it. So what I did, Voltron taught me a lot of things about the entrepreneurial spirit. I started saving aluminum cans. I'd go all around the city and put aluminum cans into garbage bags.
Okay.
And my parents just kind of let me do it because they're like, oh, how the heck's this going to turn out? Right. Well, it turned out not so good because aluminum cans didn't pay you that much. I needed $100 for this Voltron toy.
I was going to say, did you just have a lot of stinky aluminum cans sitting around?
More than that, we had a bunch of ants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So even though the mindset was right and the goal there, the execution kind of failed a little bit.
It was a little lacking.
But that, my friends, because I did buy a generic Voltron. It was like Potron for being poor.
Photron.
It was Potron. That's like I met a guy in New York one time. He was trying to sell me a fake Rolex and he called it a Polex.
Oh, yeah. Instead of like a real Gucci, it's a Fucci.
Yeah.
A fake Gucci.
Yeah. So, Voltron was teaching me some pretty cool stuff. If you go back and you think about this, that was really one of my first, entrepreneurial decisions I made where I was like, look, I want Voltron, not Poltron. My parents won't buy me Voltron. So I'm going to take this into my own hands and I'm going to design my own destiny. I'm going to make my own dreams as a young man come true. And I'm going to buy myself Voltron. But in true Voltron spirit, there is even more than just the entrepreneurial side.
Ooh, please tell us more.
I was unaware until probably today at lunch, for real, that my execution, even though my goal was there, my dream was there, my execution sucked. I got aluminum cans. The idea seemed good on paper, but probably should have washed out the cans a little bit so we had less ants.
It was only halfway there.
Yeah, really. It wasn't really well thought out because there's only certain things that each of us are great at.
Sure, of course.
Right. And there are certain things that you, Cassie, do, for example, that I couldn't even imagine thinking was fun and vice versa.
Like pulling weeds.
Yeah. Like you like to actually pull weeds for real.
I do. I find it therapeutic.
That's odd. So
not surprising.
One of the biggest issues though, and I started thinking about this since we talked today, and it's like being a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, but let's kind of focus on the solopreneur deal. When you're a solopreneur, meaning that you are on your own, it's all your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So dreams are up to you. Execution's up to you.
Yep. Funding is up to you.
Funding is up to you. Success is up to you. Failure is also up to you. It's like
Right.
all on you.
It's a lot.
And, I think that when we look at something, years ago, I was introduced to something called the Colby test.
Mm-hmm.
I was also introduced to something called the DISC profile. Yes. And there's all these different personality trait type of deals. Strength Finders by Gallup is another one. And, what they show you is what you're naturally better at.
Yeah. And it's so much more than just a personality test. I mean, it's, more of an aptitude, it's your strengths, your weaknesses, but, in a very specific way, like who you are as an individual outside of just your personality. It's not telling you, oh, you're fun or you're laid back or you're relaxed.
Right. So when you look at it, one thing that's really interesting about the way our society works now is we focus so much on stuff that we're not good at. Right. If you think about school, when kids aren't good at something, we put so much effort into that. Right. Maybe a kid's good at math, but their English is lacking. That might be me. Okay. We'll go out there and we get tutors to try to make their English come up to be at par.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of maybe at some point, someone who's got that intelligence in a math world or a science world or something else, if we took that and nurtured that, what would that be like? What type of success could that particular individual have? Granted, maybe they have no idea what the difference between a colon and a semicolon is, right? The good news is we have Grammarly now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But
everything.
Yeah, I get it. Focusing more on an individual's strengths rather than highlighting their, I don't want to say weaknesses, but, maybe something they're not as skilled or not as interested in too.
Right. So when you look at Voltron, there was a leader robot, right? There was a leader person that had a leader robot. It was the red tiger looking thing. Right. And then you had 4 other ones, each arms and 2 arms, 2 legs.
Gotcha.
Right. And you're always going to have someone who's the leader, who's the visionary, who sees all these different things. But really, some of the execution, quite a bit of the execution, was done by 80% of the other people, other than the leader.
Right. And Voltron wouldn't have been successful if he didn't have those individuals to make his arms and legs.
Are you sure you haven't seen the show?
No, I'm just, I'm flowing with you. It's Friday flow.
It's Friday flow. But it's true. And so I think that that's a really big danger when you get into the solopreneur world. If you're an advisor out there and you're on your own, where do you start hiring? How do you start hiring? How do we go those things? How do we find the other pieces that complement us? Because one thing I've been very blessed on and very, very, very lucky is I love coming in with ideas. I love coming in with systems and ideas of how these things can all come together. And then I have someone in my office that can help implement those things. Sure. I have people that can help implement the paperwork. I'm terrible at paperwork, right? I can have someone that can help implement the actual standard operating procedures and put them down. I have other people that can help me with, putting in together the database aspect for portfolio management. We have all these different people in our team that specialize in their individual space and they're damn good at it.
Right.
And then you look at so many different people out there that are responsible for all that. And it seems really overwhelming.
Oh yeah. It's a daunting task.
And so one of 2 things is going to happen. One is they're only going to do the things that they're good at. And then the experience for the customer is going to be terrible, or they're going to get stuck in the weeds, right? They're going to get stuck in the weeds. They're going to get in a place where they can't get out of there. And they have no idea, how do I get to that next place? Because I'm so busy doing all these other things.
Yeah, they're inundated with the tasks that have to be done to be able to be successful, but they also can't move themselves forward because they're constantly doing those tasks.
Yeah. So how do we start helping people then? When you look at what we're trying to do here with the podcast, elevate or motivate you, elevate you to the next level. How do we start supporting and helping people fill in those gaps of what they're running? How do we become their Voltron?
Yeah, I think I completely understand it. I think that's one of the biggest struggles that advisors run into. So if they have a smaller team, so maybe 1 or 2 people, there's a lot of advisors that don't have a team. And they are, on a regular basis, I'm talking to them and they're like, well, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this. At least they're putting forth the effort, and our job as the FMO and the RA that we take upon ourselves themselves is to alleviate some of those tasks or provide them strategies and processes to really streamline it, to make their life easier. But some of them just don't move forward either. They're in quicksand. They have all of these things to do and they're almost paralyzed because of it.
There's a horse and a chicken.
No,
Oh,
not
you
going
said
there.
quicksand.
Not going there.
You said quicksand. It was
Nope,
just the immediate thing I thought
nope.
of. But no, you're 100% right. I mean, if the success of my practice was based upon my ability to complete paperwork, we would have failed years ago.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be able to support my family. Now, granted, there's always things that we're going to feel like we have to do. And there are things that we have to do here and there.
Yeah, that you might not love. That's just life.
That's just part of it. But when you're talking about expanding your business, elevating your practice, doing all these different things in an efficient, effective manner,
Mhm.
there are certain things that you can do right now that you can implement. Find those other arms of your Voltron and go out there and it doesn't necessarily have to even be employees,
Right.
right? Like maybe it's not a situation where you want to bring on people onto your actual team right now. Maybe it's outside help. Maybe it's someone like Motivate that can help you. Maybe it's, one of our partners that we work with on the digital space. Maybe it's
outsourcing until you can take those things under your own house and be able to manage them and pay for them.
Sure.
I mean, I think one thing out of, what's happened this past year is everybody sees all the resources available online. One of our advisors, she wasn't looking for a full-time person, but she does not love doing marketing. She doesn't like building emails, but she knows it's an essential part. So we do a lot of stuff for her. We help her with, but she hired a virtual assistant who lives overseas and she's taken her database and her CRM.
It's a long commute.
Yeah. And like we do webinars together. So I'm talking to her virtual assistant at the same time, giving ideas, helping stuff with her, but it's taken those tasks that she does not want to do. She might not even be good at it.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not good at it.
Yeah.
And she knows that. And that's okay. Like you said, not everyone is great at something.
Not everyone's going to be the pitcher on the baseball team.
Right. But just by having that virtual assistant, her production has gone up because she is now focusing on what she needs
And
to.
our recommended focus amount on the stuff that you're good at is we recommend for you being the leader, being the catalyst of your own firm. I recommend 80 to 90% of your time should be spent in doing the things that you're special at, right? You find that specialty when you do it, it feels good. It gives you energy.
You're good at it.
Yeah. You're good at people around you are attracted to it. That's where you need to be as a solopreneur. A solopreneur does not mean that you have to go in this thing and battle all on your own. And that's where I think like we created like this monster in the entrepreneurial world by calling solopreneurs, because there's like this badge of honor of just being miserable and working 100 hours a week and losing family members and getting divorces and all these different things because you're doing all these things that you're maybe not that good at. And it's really not that fun, but you're a solopreneur. Whereas if you really want to be a successful solopreneur, you focus on everything you have on what you're good at, find other people that complement the things you're missing. You become your own Voltron, you go out there and you rock. Right. And that's part of the difference. And what comes down to that then also is going to be the systems,
right?
The systems that come along with it.
People need to realize too, and we actually had to do this little inventory check a little bit ago, was be where you are. In your business, if you don't have all of your Voltron arms right this second, that's okay. Find your arm first, your left arm. Get that going, then find your right arm, and slowly you start building off of that. I just saw like a little.
Honestly, your best.
I just saw like a little hokey pokey. Put your left arm.
Yeah, that's probably not. We probably should never do that again.
That was not my best analogy.
No.
I was trying to go with the Voltron theme.
So what you do is you blink your left eye. Hopefully you can find your left eye. There it is. Blink it.
I'm gonna punch you in your left eye.
It's awesome.
I digress.
But the big thing for us to tell you is that you're not in this thing alone. One of my big learning moments for me, we went and did a class, and the class was on digital marketing. And we've done a couple of these different things. We've done them through companies. We've done them through SCORE, which is a non-for-profit, more than likely you have in your area. Check it out.
Within your community.
It's a great community thing. SCORE is awesome. They stopped it with COVID, but I think they're coming back now.
They were doing webinars, and I've seen in our area, they are doing live classes again.
But anyway, we went and did these things, and what we started seeing, and it just really reiterated this conversation that we're having right now. We saw people spending thousands tens of thousands of dollars on the training to become marketing digital specialists for their financial practice firms. We saw them spend tens of thousands of dollars on the actual marketing spend, ad spend itself.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw people put in significant marketing dollars into the digital marketing space. And what would you say the failure rate of those individuals were?
I would say, unfortunately, 80 to 90%.
I think you're being generous. I think it was closer to 95 to 99. Because what you have to determine is, as an entrepreneur, where does your job start and where does it end? And if you're going to be a financial advisor, for example, do you want to be a financial advisor or do you want to be a digital marketer? And there's nothing wrong with it. There's no right answer or wrong answer. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of how much time do you actually have? How much capacity do you have at a time level as well as a brain space?
Right.
And then what's the capacity that you have from a marketing standpoint to try stuff that's not necessarily proven? And now you're doing it because you might not even be good at it. Right. So what went from basically a money saving strategy for a lot of advisors? How do I save money, especially with COVID? You know,
do it yourself.
Yeah, I can do this myself. I can save money. I can do all these different things. So we went from like a time saving, the money saving deal to a time bleeding deal. And for a lot of them, a lot of people that I met, it cost them much, much, much more than going out and finding someone who really specializes in this that can get you the ROI that you're looking for.
Yeah. And just be able to let them do that. I mean, we all know, time is money. Mm-hmm. And if you're not spending your time efficiently, even if, you don't have an employee, you have to find out how much is your time worth. How many advisors have really sat down and figured out on an hourly basis when I'm working with clients, what am I worth?
Sure.
I think a lot of people, and we actually did this with one of our advisors, would be really shocked when they look at all the time and effort, especially if they're not being efficient with it. They're making $20, $30 an hour. And I mean, nothing's wrong with that, but with the time and effort and education and everything else that you're putting in it should be exponentially higher than that.
Yeah. Especially if you're ever going to want to grow it, bring on other people,
right,
and go those different directions. So these are all really valid, conversations to have. So let me ask you a question. So we have, I'm looking up on the board right now. We have a Facebook seminar program that we have through Motivate.
Yep.
It's $11.99. Correct me if I'm wrong. $11.99.
Yeah.
That pays for all the ad spend. It takes care of everything. What's the guarantee on that right now?
So right now we guarantee 30 registrants. So that's 30 people to register, not to attend, but we do help curb our advisors on any type of attrition to really help that number. And the way that the guarantee works is, so, if you do the $11.99, it's 30. So for every person we don't hit that number, we actually give you $100 back into your marketing credits.
So we invest in it to make sure it's going to work.
Yeah. I mean, we're investing in you because if for some reason it doesn't work, we're giving you a jump start on the next one. And I've said this a million times, not all marketing is perfect and not everything works every single time. So, we kind of, we hammer this, that you have to have different things going all at the same time. You can't rely on one strategy because it may or may not work. And if it doesn't work, you're going to be in a bad place. But that's all you're doing.
You can definitely work on one plan. And so when you're talking about the marketing arm of it, is it better for you to go out, spend $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for a program, and then in addition, test it with your own money versus having a company like ours, where we've been able to be fortunate to do these type of things all over across the country, where we have the data, we have a pretty darn good idea what's working,
right,
and we put guarantees behind it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's part of looking at this Voltron aspect of it and really having the idea. Another thing that we're doing right now is a step-by-step program. So our step-by-step program that we're doing in September, right down here in the Sunshine State, is what we're seeing is the byproduct of using our systems, using our marketing, using all the different strategies that we're working with. The byproduct, which is awesome, great side effect, is people are coming in and they're calling us with much higher net worth individuals than they've ever seen.
And they're being able to work with them in different capacities as well.
Well, that's exactly it. So with that idea though,
Mhm.
Cassie, it can become really overwhelming because
Yeah.
if there's several different revenue streams, it's no longer just, hey, I want to make you safe versus risky.
Mhm. Or have some accumulation or set up, a death benefit for your family.
Yeah, maybe it's a tax play.
Yeah.
Now, because these people have so much more money and there's so many more opportunities, there's so many different ways you could go. Many advisors are kind of in that quicksand place again, where they're saying, what should we do? So here's what we're doing here. For motivated advisors and motivate investments professionals who are with us, we're bringing them down here. We are actually going to take real life clients,
Mhm.
real life client situations. Well, obviously going to be not showing people's names and personal information.
Just social security numbers and bank accounts.
That's a joke. Don't believe
joking.
her. Don't believe her. But no, we are going to go through legitimate individual cases and build them. And so we're going to look at it. And what's going to be great about this is I'm going to be able to show the methodology that I've used historically to help my clients really expand upon their situation. I had a client today. They came in a year and a half ago now. We're 18 months in, and we've made almost a $3 million difference in their bottom line when they started with 2.4.
Mhm. Well, and
So-
that's because you utilized a plan and you had a lot of different things going for them. It was assets under management, setting up their kids, doing their life insurance, making sure it's tax efficiency.
Roth conversion strategies that
Yep.
go along with that, all the things that go into this. And we did very well as a firm, but they've done even better. I mean, we bettered their situation by over $3 million in a very short period of time. And that's very powerful to be able to have that conversation with your clients as well. But it doesn't just happen overnight, because many of you may not know really where to start with some of these things. So that's the type of training. That's another arm that we have. So you got the marketing arm, now you've got the processing arm, and then it comes down to, how do I hire somebody? How do I bring on the right staff? Is a staff member a liability? Is that staff member an investment? How do I see that staff member? How do I build that overall strategy?
Mhm. Yeah. And I mean, and getting there is going to take a little bit of time too. So to make sure you have a team within your organization that can help you get to that point that you're like, I'm comfortable.
Mhm.
I need a staff member. I'm busy enough that it justifies it. And then having someone help you. How do I hire? What's the job description? How do I get them trained? And again, these are all things we love having the advisors come down and train with us, but even more so, we have their staff come down and train with us. So it's a little bit different when you're sitting with someone who's actually doing real life paperwork, when they're making those phone calls to the
Mhm.
carrier, to TD, to know what you're doing. So to be trained by someone who every day is doing that job, I think is a lot more impactful than here's an SOP.
So what you're talking about, because you didn't really go into it in detail, is the Freedom Builder program.
Yeah.
So the Freedom Builder program is a great program, Cassie just mentioned, where if you're the advisor and you want to get to the point where you're doing 80 to 90% of the stuff that you can do best, which will then automatically drive more business through the door, become a catalyst, all those different things, you really need someone to help support that.
Mhm.
And you want them to be able to support you so that you're able to put that 80 to 90% of your time into that business.
Right.
So those are really, really important things. The beautiful thing is, you send them down here, they sit exactly with my team, just like Cassie said. They see a real life working office that's meeting with people on a day in, day out basis. It's not just a matter of, we hope that this works. We know exactly what works because we're doing it.
Mhm.
We're living this
Yeah,
thing.
it's hands-on real life training.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it kind of goes back to, I'm sure all the advisors, they're doing paperwork, but maybe you don't love it and you
Not
miss
this guy.
stuff. Well, I was going to say, that's like you trying to train someone on our team to do paperwork. It's probably not the best idea. Now, how to plan, how to sell, how to interact with the clients. Yes, 100%. You're amazing at all of that. But paperwork, processes, not so much. But that's why you have a team that is better than you doing those things.
But part of that is also then and I'm not going to say this, but it's checking your ego,
Sure.
right?
What were you going to say?
Well, I think I was going to say,
I'm not going to say,
I was
but then you said,
I was going to say it was a maturity play, but I'm not really that mature. So I don't think I can really go that direction.
No.
But no, it's an ego check, because I think to be a business owner, to be an entrepreneur, to be a solopreneur, whatever you want to call it, I think it takes a certain level of confidence, right?
Of course, 100%. You have to have that.
Whether you're confident with something to support it, or you're just confident because you're just freaking confident. But I think it's an important thing to realize that confidence and ego, they will get you to a point. And then at that point, you have to either put your ego aside. And I believe that that's a huge moment for growth.
Mm-hmm.
Or in my opinion, you're going to self-destruct.
Well, with any business, that's the exact same thing. You're following the S curve.
Yeah. So, you know, when you look at this, I think everyone listening to this podcast right now, I mean, just be honest with yourself. One of the tests that one of my business mentors told me one time is just look at yourself in the mirror and look at yourself for 5 minutes.
That's a long time.
It's one of the most
really long
horrific
time.
things I've ever had to do. But you look at yourself and then you determine, do I like what I see right now? Now, it doesn't mean that you have to choose whether you like yourself as a person or you know, but it's more along, is this the life that you dreamt of? Is this what you want to build? Because what can happen sometimes, your ego can hold you back from building some of the things you want because you won't give up some of that control, right? You believe that you know best. You believe that there's no one else that could do it better than you, and you just won't do it. Now, I'll tell you right now, I have a gigantic amount of confidence, but I will never, and I've said this since day one, I will never allow my confidence and or ego to hold me back from bettering the lives of my clients, from bettering the lives of all my team members, or bettering the lives of my family. If there's someone that can show me a better way to do this, that's going to make everything happier, better for everyone, and it's a win-win, I'm all over it.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, and I mean, it's something like I love learning something new every single day. And even if it kind of contradicts what my thought was beforehand, or shows me I was a little bit wrong or not doing something right, I'm completely cool with that. If you can make my life easier, my life better by teaching me something, bring it on. I'm in.
I think that's awesome. And so, you know, really that's what I wanted to talk about today. I mean, it like I told you, it's
Flow Friday.
Free Flow Friday. And so we really had no idea what we were going to talk about today, but this is exactly what the direction of this conversation needed to go today, because we're seeing this even with our own advisors as they start with us and as they start to continue to transition into that holistic advisor, utilizing the 8 elements and all these different things. There is a certain level of, wow, this is becoming real. The
pieces are falling together because they're
pieces are coming together. Right. I'm going to go out and do these things, and it's pretty amazing. They're creating their own Voltrons, and it's been fun. I wanted to have a guy on today, but he's actually, because he's been doing so well, he and his wife are taking a weekend to get away and go enjoy each other. So maybe we'll get him on the next couple of weeks to talk a little bit about what's been going on with his business, because it is absolutely amazing to see what's been happening with his business.
And he's been creating his Voltron, you know, for the past few years. Again, step by step, he's doing it strategically. He's got this part going, then he added the next one, then he added the next one, and he's killing it this year. And he's so happy too. Yeah. You know,
well, he's balanced, man. He's having I talked to him yesterday. He was watching his 2 sons at football camp, you know, so it's not a situation where he's forgetting that part either. And he's not seeing his family. There are ways of structuring this thing to do both. If you want to be $100 million producer, let's teach you how to do it. If you want to be a $5 million producer, but take 30 weeks off of vacation a year, let's do it. Success means different things to different people, but the one thing we can do is offer you ways to hit that point. So how do they get a hold of you, Miss Cass?
Guys, give me a shout, 772-247-4488. Always emailing me as well, Cassie at email me, Cassie at motivatedadvisors.com.
What's your Snapchat?
I do not have Snapchat. What's the other one? I do not have a.
Are you on the gram?
I am on the gram. I have 2 posts on the gram.
2 posts.
2 posts.
I'm sure that one of them's at least a dog.
Both of them are.
Yeah. Safe. What's the phone number here? Awesome. Motivate for them to get a hold of you.
Guys, 772-247-4488. And as always, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Absolutely.
Get out there and build your Voltron.
Build your Voltron. And if you don't know who Voltron is, do yourself a favor. Watch one of the reruns on YouTube or something. You
love the classic.
Cartoons. Man, those are the way to go.
Stuff.
Motivate You, brought to you by Motivate Advisors, Motivate Investments. As always, thank you so much for being part of our world. If you want to learn more about Motivate, give us a call at 877-7-MOTIVATE or look at our website at motivatedadvisors.com. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, Mom. Bye-bye.